Page 354, Constellations. When people thousands of years ago looked up at the night sky, they tried to explain what they saw. To them, the sky looked like an upside-down bowl, and the stars were like the points of fixed light on this bowl. They noticed that the stars made certain patterns. Those patterns are called constellations, from the Latin phrase meaning with stars. The people told stories of kings and queens, heroes and villains, animals and mythical creatures, and put them in the sky. Characters from Greek and Roman mythology made up most of the constellations we use today. Amateur astronomers learned to identify the constellations and often use them to locate other objects in the night sky. These patterns of stars remained the same night after night. People observing the sky also noticed 5 bright stars that wandered among the fixed patterns. They called these moving stars planets, the Greek word for wanderer. The planets were given the names Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, the names of Roman gods. Although it appears that the stars in the constellation we see all lie close to each other and at exactly the same distance from Earth, in fact, they may be great distances apart. They look close together only because they are so bright and so far away. The International Astronomical Union lists 88 constellations. Examples include Leo, Cassiopeia, and Orion. Smaller groups of stars forming patterns within the constellations are called asterisms, from the Greek word for star, aster. An example of an asterism is one of the most famous and visible patterns in the northern sky, the Big Dipper. If you look at the bottom of the page, you can see 3 such constellations: Cassiopeia, the queen, Orion, the hunter, and Leo, the lion. Page 355. The Big Dipper's 2 end stars in the bowl are called pointer stars because they point towards the North Star, Polaris. Long before the invention of the compass, people used the North Star to tell direction. Many people think that Polaris is the brightest star in the sky, but is not. In fact, Polaris is only as bright as the brightest star in the Big Dipper. Here in Canada, we cannot see all 88 constellations. There are approximately 20 that never rise above our horizon and are seen only from the south of the equator, as you can see from the image. Also to the right, you see a picture of the asterism, the Big Dipper, and how you use the end of the dipper to point to Polaris, the North Star. On the bottom of 355, when European explorers of the 15th century first sailed around the world and traveled to places like Australia and South America, they saw these stars for the first time. These explorers imagined new constellations out of these new stars, but they did not create animals or kings. They chose objects that were important to their lives. For example, a ship, a clock, a microscope,